You've broken the law. You didn't come here the way you were supposed to. This is not going to be a free ride.
Don't you miss the good old days back when Democrats understood what legal immigration really was, back when Democrats understood the difference between a man and a woman? But now we are now living in the world to where Democrats don't understand the difference between a man and a woman. And if you make that systematic mental leap, guess what? There's no wonder why they're breaking the law. There's no wonder why they have sanctuary cities. There's no wonder why they don't believe in legal immigration. There once was a time when they did believe it, and now they don't. At the end of the day, we must stay the course, continue to follow the laws of this land. And if you look at our southern border right now, and me being down here in Texas, we didn't need any more laws. We simply needed a new president. And our southern border is now secure. It is now up to us to secure the rest of the country.
You ever miss when Democrats actually stood what legal immigration meant? Because I do. There was a time where when that party got it, right? This was a bipartisan thing. No matter what party you was on, they understood the difference between following the law and breaking it. They understood borders meant something. They understood that when you come to this country, you come the right way or you don't come at all. But somewhere along the line, that changed, completely flipped. Now we're living in a world where Democrats don't believe in borders. They don't believe in enforcement, and they don't even want you to say the word illegal anymore. It's like they abandoned the entire concept of what makes a nation a nation. But here's the thing. There's a story coming out of Nebraska right now that exposes exactly how fake all of this is. And when you see it, you're going to understand something real about the people running for office. So let's talk about what's actually happening in Nebraska right now. There's a guy named Dan Osborn running for Senate in 2026. Now he's running as an independent. That's important. You see that I next to his name instead of a D as in Democrat. That's not an accident. That's a strategy. The persona is to come off as independent. And here's why he's doing it. The Democrat label is political suicide in the Midwest. It just is. People out there don't want to vote for a Democrat. The brand is that damaged. So instead of being honest about what he is, instead of running as a Democrat like he actually wants to be, he's running as an independent to trick voters, to fool them, to make them think he's something moderate, something reasonable when he's actually far left. And check this out. The Nebraska Democratic Party knew exactly what they were doing when they backed him. After his 2024 Senate run, they decided not to recruit their own candidate. They just endorsed him. They put their full support behind this guy. Why? Because they know the game. They know they can't win with a D label in Nebraska, being a Democrat. So they'll run a far left Democrat as an independent and hope people fall for it. Think voters are stupid enough to not notice. But here's where it gets interesting. Even though he's hiding from the Democrat label, he's not hiding from Democrat ideology. He's embracing the exact same anti-ICE, anti-border, anti-enforcement rhetoric that the party he's running from pushes every single day. He talks about how immigration raids hurt businesses. He criticizes ICE tactics, and he sounds just like the Democratic base. CNN actually caught this hypocrisy, which is rare, real journalism from a mainstream outlet, but it proves the point. You can change your label. You can run as independent. You can trick people into thinking you're something different. But when you start talking, when you start taking positions, the truth comes out. And that's exactly what happened with Dan Osborn. This is what happens when politicians abandon principle for votes. They think if they just change the letter next to their name, nobody will notice. But people notice. And here's where it gets interesting, family. We need to go back to 2021 because Dan Osborn is a union leader at the Kellogg cereal plant in Omaha. There we go. And this plant is dealing with a massive strike. And we're talking about roughly 1,400 workers across 4 Kellogg's facilities nationwide who are on the picket line. This is serious. People's livelihoods are on the line. Families are dependent on these wages. And what does the company do? They bring in replacement workers to break the strike. Now, here's where Osborne's union gets suspicious. They start looking at who these replacement workers are. And they come to a conclusion. A good percentage of them are undocumented immigrants. That's what they believed. That's what they said. So what does Osborne do? What does this union leader do when his own people's jobs are being taken? He goes public about it. He gets on a podcast and he talks about it. And you need to hear what he actually said, because this is the receipts right here, right? And before I say it plainly, the video may say it plainly itself before I say it. So let's check it out.
Has spent months criticizing the Trump administration immigration crackdown, arguing that workplace raids are hurting businesses and attacking the tactics of masked ICE agents. Yet our K-File uncovered comments from 2021 where Osborne, then a union leader during a bitter labor strike, said his union had contacted ICE and Homeland Security over allegations that some replacement workers were undocumented immigrants. K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins us now. Andrew, what did you find?
Well, look, today Dan Osborn presents himself as a pro-labor populist who is sharply critical of some of the Trump administration's harsh immigration enforcement tactics. But during a major labor strike that he led in 2021, Osborn said his union had turned to federal immigration authorities over allegations involving undocumented replacement workers. Take a listen here.
Kellogg's bringing in replacement workers, we have it on good authority that they're replacing us with a good percentage of undocumented workers. So now
they're going to be taken advantage of.
We have been in contact with Homeland Security and ICE. We've made our claims. I hope they do the right thing and investigate our claims.
So at the time, Osborn was the president of a local union representing workers at the Kellogg cereal plant in Omaha. This strike involved roughly 1,400 workers across 4 Kellogg's facilities nationwide. Now, he didn't offer any evidence during this interview that the replacement workers were undocumented. We could not independently verify that allegation, and Kellogg's didn't return a request for comment from CNN. But compare those comments to what Osborn is saying now.
We're seeing factories get raided, meat cutters get raided. We're seeing people not showing up to work at restaurants. We are seeing business owners get hurt by this immigration policies.
So Osborn has also criticized the use of masked federal agents and called some of what he's seeing not humanly decent. His campaign told CNN that he actually never personally contacted ICE or Homeland Security. Instead, the campaign said that he contacted the local sheriff and sought guidance on how those allegations involving undocumented replacement workers should be reported. He then passed that information along to others who they said contacted federal authorities on their own. This is what they told us. They said Dan contacted the Douglas County Sheriff's Department to inquire about the proper procedures for how to investigate and report that their company was replacing their striking workers with undocumented workers. He passed that information from the sheriff's office along to members of his team. Many of the individuals who raised concerns about Kellogg replacing the striking workers with undocumented workers contacted DHS and ICE in their individual capacity. Dan never contacted DHS and ICE himself, but this episode does highlight some of the complicated politics that he does have to navigate in this race. He has called for a pathway to citizenship for long-time undocumented immigrants, and he has said that immigrant labor is important to the state's economy, but he has also supported stronger border security. He's argued that undocumented immigration drives down wages for American workers.
Andrew, this also comes as Osborne is relying heavily on Democratic voters in the Senate race.
Well, that's right. The Nebraska Democratic Party decided not to recruit its own candidate and instead back Osborne after he had a surprisingly strong Senate run in 2024. And that's what makes immigration a particularly tricky issue for him here. There's a Pew survey taken last summer that found Democrats view ICE, you can see right there, overwhelmingly negative, while Republicans hold strongly favorable views of the agency. His challenge is going to be holding both of these groups together, and the campaign is now framing this incident as being about exploited undocumented labor. They told CNN, this is a quote from them, members of the community stood up to protect those local union jobs and hold corporate power accountable, adding, there's a reason we haven't seen real immigration reform in this country. Mega corporations who use Citizens United to fund career politicians in D.C. are benefiting from our broken immigration system by exploiting undocumented immigrants to create a pool of cheap labor, driving down wages to boost their own profits while undercutting American workers. Boris?
Andrew,
There you have it, family.
thank you so much.
There you have it. So, he says it plain. We've been in contract with Homeland Security and ICE. We made our claims. I hope they do the right thing and investigate our claims. That's what was said from Dan Osborn as a union leader. All right? Those are his exact words. Think about that for a second. When it was his people, when it was his members getting replaced by undocumented workers, he knew exactly what the problem was. He understood it. He contacted the federal government about it. He wanted ICE involved. He wanted an investigation. He was serious about it because illegal immigration doesn't take jobs from rich people. It takes jobs from working people. It takes jobs from the people who need them the most. Osborne's union members, they punch a clock, they feed their families on that paycheck. And when somebody comes in undocumented and a company uses them to undercut wages and break a strike, that hurts real families real quick. And Osborne understood that. He lived it. He was there with these workers every single day. And let me tell you something. What Osborne was saying back in 2021, what he was experiencing, what he was fighting against, people call that a far-right conspiracy theory now. They really do. If you say illegal immigrants or illegal immigration takes jobs, if you say it lower wages, if you say it affects American workers, you get labeled, right? You get attacked. They call you a supremacist. They tell you you're spreading lies. When the law is the law, which is why ICE exists in the first place. But Osborne wasn't spreading lies. He was living the truth of it. When the problem was his problem, he got it. He understood. He knew exactly what was happening and exactly who to call. Rules for thee, not for me. Sounds familiar? That's the key thing here. When something affects you directly, when your people's jobs are on the line, you understand real quick what the damage is. You stop dancing around it. You stop playing games with it. You call it what it is. And that's what Osborne did in 2021. But fast forward 4 years. We are in 2026 now. They will even justify, even though they are undocumented, oh, yes, but they're still legal immigrants. Their paperwork hasn't processed yet. I thought that was still undocumented. We have to help asylum seekers, as Mayor Brandon Johnson would say in Chicago. That's what they would say in justification of illegal immigration. We're in 2026 now. Fast forward 4 years, Osborne's running for Senate, and suddenly something changed. Something shifted completely. Now he's attacking Trump's immigration enforcement. Or just immigration enforcement, period. It's not Trump's. Immigration enforcement been there, right? But now he's criticizing raids, right? Listening to what he's saying in this new clip, we're seeing factories get raided, meat cutters get raided. We're seeing people not show up to work at restaurants. We're seeing business owners get hurt by this immigration policy. That's his message now. That's what he's pushing. Think about that. This is the same man, same guy in 2021. He contacted federal authorities because undocumented workers were replacing his union members. He wanted them investigated. He wanted ICE involved. He understood the damage. And now in 2026, he's saying those same enforcement actions hurt business owners. He's protecting the very thing he fought against 4 years ago. And let's be real about why. To get Democrat votes in the Senate race, you have to be pro-open borders. You have to be anti-ICE, and you have to hate Trump. We have to hate Trump's immigration policy. You have to hate Trump entirely. That's the price of admission to the Democrat base now. So Osborne paid it. He changed his tune. He sold his position. And in doing that, he threw his colleagues under the bus. The workers he fought for in 2021, he's now betraying them in 2026 by defending a system that hurts them. That's not evolution. That's calculation. That's a man choosing power over principle. Now this campaign got caught on this. CNN just exposed it, you heard. And they had to explain themselves. So here's what they said, just to, regurgitate or repeat. They claim Osborne never personally contacted ICE or Homeland Security. He just contacted the local sheriff. That's their excuse. He contacted local law enforcement instead of federal authorities. That's supposed to make it better somehow. But that's a lie. And here's why. First, that's not what he said in the interview. He specifically mentioned Homeland Security and ICE. He said it out loud. He said they were in contact. So the campaign's walking it back. They're changing the story. And when a man changes his story, he's admitted he knows what he did was wrong. But here's the part that really kills me. Even if his excuse were true, even if he only contacted the sheriff, that still doesn't help him with his own base. You know why? Because Democrats are pro-sanctuary city. That's their position. The whole point of a sanctuary city is that local law enforcement does not get involved in immigration enforcement, period. That's the Democrat rule. I'm not making this up. This has happened to be what a lot of people are saying across sanctuary cities. I'm just reporting. So if Osborne contacted the local sheriff about undocumented workers, he's actually violating the sanctuary city principle that Democrats claim to support. His explanation doesn't even work for the people he's trying to win over. He's basically saying, I contacted local cops about illegals instead of federal authorities. And the Democrat base is supposed to be okay with that? That doesn't make sense. His own defense contradicts his own ideology. That's how weak his position is. He can't even lie straight about it. And here's what this really shows us, family. This isn't about immigration policy. This isn't about border security or sanctuary cities or ICE enforcement. This is about power over principle. This is about a man choosing the office over his integrity. Osborne's transformation in 4 years, that wasn't evolution. That was abandonment. In 2021, when it affected him directly, when his people's jobs were on the line, he understood the damage illegal immigration causes. He got it. He lived it. But in 2026, when he wants a Senate seat, suddenly that damage doesn't exist. Suddenly it's not real. Suddenly it's just a far-right conspiracy theory that he's now fighting against. And here's what he's really saying underneath all of this. Protect workers from undocumented labor when my job is on the line, but protect undocumented immigrants when my career is on the line. That's the message. That's the inconsistency. Power when it benefits him, principles when it doesn't. And let me point something out about the Democrat brand in the Midwest. It's so damaged, as a lot of individuals feel in the Midwest, that they can't run with a letter D by their name, the Democrat. They know they'll lose. So what do? They run communists and far left activists as independents. They slap an I as independent on somebody and hope voters don't notice what they actually believe. They think people are stupid. They think if you change the label, people won't figure out who you are. But there's a lesson in all of this. Watch a man's hands, not his mouth. Actions tell you what people really believe. Words are easy. Positions change. But when a man calls something evil and then runs to it for protection the moment it serves him, he doesn't actually believe what he's telling you. He never did. He was just saying what he needed to say to get what he wanted. And this is why working people don't trust politicians on both sides anymore. Typical politicians, as they would say. They see this exact thing over and over. A man will say anything. He'll flip his position on a dime and he'll throw his own people under the bus. All for power, all for a title, all for a seat in Washington. To then call himself a public servant and then sit there and act like he's fighting on the behalf of American taxpayers in his state, up in the Senate, when there's only policies based on self-benefit and a detriment to the American people. Dan Osborn proved something real here. He proved that when a politician's own interests are on the line, all that woke rhetoric disappears in a heartbeat. And I'm not telling you what to think about him. I'm just telling you based on what's being reported, as you guys seen on the screen from CNN. He showed us the truth about illegal immigration, as we can speak to that specifically, affecting workers. Then he spent 4 years pretending he never said it. That's not evolution, that's betrayal. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Does this change how you see him? Hit the like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel, spread the peace, love, and positivity. Let the love supersede the hate, family. On that note, family, peace.